was in primary school, I was teased for having red hair.
I didn't fit in because I was very quiet and I liked reading, and the girls at my school just weren't like that.
A good day would be if I got through the day and only one or two people had called me fat. So
I didn't have a Somerset accent, so I became a target. I had a birthmark which needed surgery, and I had a massive scar on all my forehead. It was very, very obvious.
When I was in secondary school, so in years 8, 9 and maybe 10, about the colour of my skin, because I had a darker skin tone than my parents.
And I had lots of problems with other boys in my tutor group.
There were a few older students who just enjoyed picking on younger students.
When I moved down from Scotland, moving to a different culture and a very different way of living was hard for me, and mainly because of how I was treated by people when I got here.
Called things like ginger nut, carrot top, Duracell.
And they always made me feel like I was an outsider.
In swimming pool changing rooms, the boys would often sort of poke you and grab you. And
there was a certain amount of name calling, but a lot of it was, the pushing, shoving, bullying, punching.
I was very obviously called Scarface, Frankenstein. I'd had my brains removed.
I was called an orphan, told I was adopted. People wouldn't talk to me because of it, because I was odd.
So they would call me brace face, they would make fun of the fact that I had spots. And one of the biggest problems I had was when they used to laugh at my hair.
It was the fear of getting on the school bus and there not being a space at the front.
I got called everything under the sun. Scottish this, Scottish that, every swear word you can think of. I got called that.
It made me feel quite different to other people.
It really upset me, and I didn't feel like I could tell my mum, so I kind of tried to deal with it on my own.
And it was really embarrassing. So I stopped wanting to do PE, and I began to take more and more time off school. I started to be what today would be called a school refuser.
It was endless, absolutely endless. It didn't stop from the day I moved in to Somerset until the day I left school at 16.
It made me feel really, really embarrassed. In fact, so much so that I grew a huge fringe in order to cover my forehead.
I decided that I didn't want to come to school anymore, so I ended up losing a lot of friends. When I did come back to school, it was really hard to get back into it, so I decided to focus on something else, and that I was going to join the Royal Navy when I left school.
I've always had very thick, long hair, and all my friends had really soft, silky, thin hair.
That absolute nightmare of when you were in year 7, year 8, of having to make sure you were at the bus stop quickly so that you could be at the front of the queue, so that you could get on the front of the bus, so you didn't have to be at the back with the bullies.
To be treated like that was a totally new experience to me. I spoke to my parents, and they helped me to approach the right person at school, so I approached my form tutor about it.
As I grew older, I learned that being different was okay, and I learned to live with it.
Then as I got older, I realised that there were places that I fitted in, and I loved music, and at the next school I went to, we had a brilliant music department. That was the place where I belonged.
The big change for me came really at 16. I did take active measures to change the way I looked. And over the course of the summer, I lost all my puppy fat and became lean. And I went back in September, and I remember all the girls saying, "What's happened to you?" And that was a massive boost to my confidence.
To get over it, I've got a happy life, nice children who go off and do their own thing. They're all pretty confident, and doing my best to make sure that they didn't suffer with the same things that I did when I was at school.
When I got to about 13, 14, I suddenly thought, do you know what, I don't care. And I got rid of the fringe, and I said, this is who I am, I don't care. I'm actually quite proud of this scar, it's me, nobody else has got one like this, I'm really proud of it.
When I was 17, I left town and I spent 8 years in the Navy travelling the world, met brand new friends, experienced completely different things, and have loved life ever since.
And the only reason why I started thinking, actually, my hair is really quite beautiful and lovely, is when I went to the hairdressers and they told me that I had some of the best hair they'd ever seen because it was so thick and lovely. And I just thought, you know what, my friends tell me this all the time, and it's about time I believe them.
And it wasn't until I met a really great group of friends when I left school and went to college, things really started to fly for me.
If you're being bullied, the most important thing is to talk to other people and let them know how you're feeling. If you're being bullied, you need to recognise it's not your fault. And the most important thing is to keep going at it until it gets solved, okay? So that you begin to feel better about yourself and your everyday life.